Now that Pokemon is ending, people are claiming that it's the end of their childhood. Like, really? Your $50K in student loan debt and waking up at 7:30 in the morning is considered sleeping in. Pokemon ending did not mark the end of your childhood. Your childhood died the moment that lying down hurt. We quickly faded from Ash Ketchum to Professor Oak. The kids who were first introduced to Pokemon are now old enough to have kids of their own. They're not, but they're old enough. This is interesting because in the past there was a clear generational divide between parents and children. Pokemon versus Pokemon. Parents 20 years ago couldn't tell the difference between a Pokemon and a Tamagotchi. But parents today are Pokemon veterans. I can see parents like scolding their children over their tactics. Jimmy, just listen to me, okay? I know Screech doesn't do any damage, but it lowers their defense by 2, okay? You gotta think long term, Jimmy, long term. This is gonna bring out some really odd dynamics. Like I can see some parent disowning their kid over which starter Pokemon they choose, or maybe some kid rebels against their parents by watching Digimon. It's gonna get real ugly. Millennials can get protective over their Pokemon, like claiming that Generation 1 and 2 had the most creative Pokemon designs like Fire Dog, Snake, Birds, Crab, and a personal favorite, Bigger Crab. Pokemon is cool because of the shared cultural experience. It doesn't matter if you're a 10-year-old boy from Nebraska or some girl growing up in Kyoto, we all know the pain of hurting yourself in confusion 3 times in a row. 50-50 chance my ass. It's crazy that Pokemon is still going strong 20 years later. I would have figured that TikTok would have killed what's left of our attention span by now so no one would be able to finish the games. But no, it's as popular as ever. And Congress wants to talk about banning TikTok? They should be investigating Pokemon. Pokemon's basically brainwashing kids. I have a niece who just says her name like a Pokemon. Just, Saramon. Saramon. Yeah, real cute, huh? She's 17. But Pokemon really is a cultural cornerstone. If we ever wanted to send evidence of humanity's existence into space, we should just send a capsule full of Pokemon swag. Think about it. Pokemon encompasses all aspects of humanity. It's got art, strategy, capitalism, anime titties, just everything. Could you just imagine how disappointed the aliens who found that capsule would be after making first contact? It would just be a huge bait and switch. They just walk off the ship, just be like, hello? I don't know why they sound like this, but they'd be like, hello, we are looking for Professor Oak? Why do none of the Pokemon say their names? Where are all the 10-year-old girls built like Swiss supermodels? Did you know that Pokemon is the most lucrative intellectual property on the planet? Mickey Mouse looks like a mere peasant next to Pikachu. Pokemon got so big so fast, I'm starting to believe that the Great Recession wasn't caused by greedy bankers. No. It was just Pokemon erasing the middle class one card pack at a time. But I don't care if Pokemon ruined the economy. I die for my favorite Pokemon. Perhaps even kill. So be careful what you write in the comments. I think what draws kids to Pokemon is that they identify with a lot of characters, since most characters from the anime and games are around 10 years old. But the ages were always one of those cultural nuances that I just don't think ever translated that well. In Japan, young kids are in charge of maintaining and taking care of their own spaces, and it's those sort of activities that promote a level of responsibilities where, yeah, sure, send a 10-year-old kid on their own Pokemon journey. But at age 10 in the US, we're just happy that they're brushing their own teeth. To file my taxes, each year I just hop onto Omegle and find some Japanese kid to do them. You would not believe the deductions they found. I wouldn't trust a 10-year-old from the United States to babysit my hamster. Pokemon can't happen in the US. Parents can't even let their kids walk to the corner store alone without getting the cops called on them. They'd get the electric chair if they sent their kid on a Pokemon journey. Although I don't think that Team Rocket would be much of a threat once they realize what Officer Jenny's packing in America. Just because these kids can be sent off at 10, doesn't mean they should. For Christ's sake, the kid still believes in Santa Claus but is free to travel across the country on foot. Your prefrontal cortex doesn't even fully develop until you're 25. Maybe if Ash just held off for a couple of years, he wouldn't have gotten fooled by Team Rocket every other day. I mean, honestly, Ash has made some really questionable decisions, like that time he tried to scale a mountain and almost froze to death. Ash's mom must have some insurance policy out on him or something. She's just waiting for a Snorlax or Onix to come crush him so she gets that huge payout. I mean, it's really the only thing that explains it. Even if Ash doesn't die in some horrific Poke accident, Pikachu has already shaved decades off Ash's life. I'm no doctor, but that amount of high voltage electricity that Ash has been exposed to cannot be good for the old ticker. I really think that Ash should be in school. I mean, congrats on becoming Pokemon Master, but what do you know about Excel? With globalization, you need to have marketable skills. But at least Ash got to live out his dream. There's gotta be some 40-year-old who's going through a midlife crisis, so he quits his job, leaves his family, all to become a Pokemon Master. Now that's what I call a teachable moment for an episode. I almost hate how perfect and awesome the world of Pokemon is depicted. It's really tainted my expectations for the world. Growing up, I got to watch some boy travel across the land, searching far and wide. Now I'm eating cereal with water because I didn't have time to go to the store. In the world of Pokemon, I'd probably have a job that really reflects who I am, and I'd have a Pokemon as a partner that knew me just inside and out. Instead, I just work with Greg, who keeps heating up his fish in the microwave. How about some common courtesy, Greg? The world of Pokemon, though, is awesome because of how in tune humanity is with nature. I doubt that their water is contaminated with PFAS or anything like that, and that's because the Pokemon keep humans in check. If BP were to cause some other huge giant oil spill in the Pokemon world, then you know that Lugia or some other mystic Pokemon would fly over to the CEO of BP and Hyper Beam his ass. Now that's super effective. In our world, we can poison the ground, pollute the air, kill the coral reefs because our seahorses aren't gonna fight back. But with Pokemon, watch out. But of course, the Pokemon world has to have some drawbacks, how are you supposed to get home insurance if you have a kid that wants to become a Pokemon Master? You're just prepping dinner when some Tauros or whatever bust down the kitchen walls. Yeah, that's probably why parents send their kids off so early. If auto insurance rates for teen boys is higher, then it stands to reason. Just teenagers with Pokemon would be terrifying. I mean, imagine Alex from A Clockwork Orange with a Hitmonlee or whatever. Yeah, that'd really prepare him for some of the old ultra-violence. What really got Pokemon popular was the games, but a lot of people hate on Game Freak for squandering the Pokemon name, even though Pokemon is a game for children. I mean, Pokemon's target demographic just graduated from playing with the unplugged-in second controller. I think they're okay with XP share, but people are really unhappy with how Game Freak's Pokemon games are all the same as each other. But I sort of respect the laziness, okay? If I could turn in the same hand-drawn turkey that I made when I was 6 years old for the rest of my academic life, I would. And I bet a lot of people would too. There's people who post their ideas for a darker, edgier Pokemon online, and while they're cool to read, Pokemon is a game for children. Game Freak's not gonna do anything mature. It's like my Paw Patrol fanfiction where Chase gets a little too trigger happy and shoots one of the Cat Pack members, meaning he has to cover it up, leaving Rocky the only witness to make a choice: protect his friends or expose the system he believes so much in. And while critics call it one of the most riveting fanfictions with some of the most tasteful sex scenes ever put to page, I know Nickelodeon won't touch it because they don't have to. And to be fair, the Pokemon games do have some changes. For whatever reason, Game Freak keeps making the Pokemon professors sexier with each game. I could imagine having tea or playing Scrabble with Professor Oak, but nowadays the professors are just straight up gilfs. It's like Riley Reid became a Pokemon professor, and Game Freak finally dropped Pokemon's slogan of "gotta catch 'em all." That was a cute saying when there was only 200 Pokemon. But now that there's almost over 1,000 Pokemon, the trainers need to unionize or something. Go from the newest anime wants to catch all the Pokemon, which really seems like the tendency of a glorified hoarder. Go is no better than some person with 25 cats crammed into their pee-soaked apartment. He needs to be evaluated for a compulsive disorder and barred from ever buying Pokeballs. And one final thought, Game Freak needs to do better about addressing the whole egg-laying thing. Pokemon already teaches kids counting, reading, friendship. Might as well cover sex ed as well.